Hi, I'm Calvis Rice, and I'm the Director of Business Development at IPS. And in this presentation, we're going to go over some of the integration services offered by our company. We're going to talk about three main things today. First, we'll give you a company overview, let you know who we are. Second, we're going to go over the integration phases that are typically part of a project. And then we're going to go over our capabilities and experience. So let's start and giving you a company overview. So IPS was founded in 2009 by Mike Callahan and Kevin Gilleste. Both Mike and Kevin have a lot of experience in the can manufacturing industry. Mike has been a can maker for over 40 years and Kevin for over 30 years, and both have a long bout at Ball Corporation. Mike is currently the president and CEO, and Kevin is the VP of operations. And both Mike and Kevin are committed to helping our customer base, which has grown in large numbers globally since we have been founded 10 years ago. Our mission is simple. It's to provide world-class engineering, technical, and operational support to the can manufacturing industry. And when talking about us, it's important to understand a few things. First off, we are can makers. This is who we employ, and this is how the company was founded. We're can makers that happen to be engineers. And this is in contrast to other options that customers have to work with that may be engineers that happen to work in the can industry. And the difference is experience in the subject matter. So by hiring IPS, you are hiring true can makers. We come from industry, so our employees and the resources that IPS pulls from come from major can manufacturers such as Ball Corporation, Rexam, and others, as well as industry leaders in integration, companies such as Raceline or Pack International of the past. Our headquarters are located in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, but we are a global company. We have customers around the world, and we also have resources that we use from or that we pull from on a global basis as well. Let's talk now a bit about the integration phases. So when we talk about a can line integration, we typically break it up into four phases. And the first phase is very important. It is the phase one preliminary engineering and feasibility study. And the main goal of this phase one is to help the customer decide whether to move forward with their project. So the preliminary engineering covers things such as a basic layout, specifying the equipment that will be used, understanding the utility requirements, doing a preliminary product design, and looking at staffing and labor requirements. And with this information, as well as other pieces that we would be seeking, we're able to give an estimated capital cost that it would take to complete the project, as well as an estimated operating cost. So what is it going to cost to make cans once the line or plant is actually built? And with all of this, we're able to compare the costs that it will take to start and continue making cans to what the customer is currently paying to get cans. And this all helps the customer, again, decide whether to move forward with the project. Assuming the customer decides to move forward, this takes us into phase two, which is project execution. And the main goal here is to build and start up the can plant. Simple. So there's a lot of things that make this happen. So first off, it's finalizing the engineering and the timeline. It's purchasing equipment, and this is very important to purchase the equipment at the correct time because a lot of the equipment has long lead times, and this actually dictates the project timeline. Of course, it's building the plant if it is a greenfield type project, installing the equipment, functional checkouts and startups, and then staffing and training. It's worth noting that IPS is very skilled in the staffing and training portion of this. Again, we are can makers, and the people working on our projects are very experienced. So, from a training standpoint, we have a great team to make sure that staff left behind after the project has been completed is very well trained. In regards to staffing, again, we have a global network of can manufacturing professionals. So we have the capability to help with staffing requirements. And this typically is placing key individuals in roles, whether it be helping find an experienced plant manager, engineering manager, or production manager. And that's how we can help with the project execution phase in regards to staffing. Now, the next phase is manufacturing and startup support, where the main goal is to reach efficiency and spoilage targets. And this all starts by defining a startup curve. So, immediately after starting to produce cans, the efficiencies will be low and the spoilage will be high. And the goal is to ramp up to the high efficiency and low spoilage that is desired by the plant. And the plan for that is the startup curve. And so typical targets would be to reach 80% efficiency and 2 to 3% spoilage in about 3 months. Now, during this phase, we can provide operational support. And again, the experienced can makers that we have working on our projects are key, essential to making this happen. So these are individuals that do this for a living. They're very talented at helping troubleshoot problems early in the startup process. Training, on the job training specifically, is one of the main components here. So during the startup phase, we are looking to ramp up our efficiency and decrease our spoilage. And we do that by using the key individuals on site. But what we want to do is make sure that the staff we leave behind is well trained to continue making incremental gains and increasing the efficiency and decreasing spoilage after we leave as well. And the final phase is a ongoing collaboration that we have with many of our customers. We call it the future technology and upgrade support. And really, the main goal is to work with customers to support long term operational goals through technology. So, this could be future expansions. There are customers that build a single line plant with plans on expanding to a second line in the future, or companies that decide to build a line that runs a certain speed, but built into the process, the idea of speeding it up after a few years. And in the future, things like down gauging. Down gauging is something that is very common in the industry right now. And so these are types of projects that we can certainly help with. And of course, helping customers understand equipment and technology as it comes out. So things are always changing, and a can plant may not need new equipment or new technology. And so oftentimes customers will come to IPS for a third party, non biased opinion, and we can help advise on whether making certain upgrades or investing in new technology makes sense for company goals. So finally, let's talk about IPS capabilities and experience. So we break down the service offerings in our integration support into three main sections. The first one is operational support, where we perform line audits, spoilage reduction programs, efficiency improvement projects, machine specific support, and troubleshooting support. Now, I want to talk a bit about the line audits because in non integration type projects, we're oftentimes called into can plants when there are high levels of spoilage or lower than desired efficiency rates. And so, line audit that we would perform would typically send two individuals on site for a short duration. There would be a mechanical and process focused individual and an electrical slash line control focused individual. And they walk the line, observe, and record, after which they provide a detailed report on what they saw and what can be changed to help reduce spoilage and increase efficiency. So, line audits are commonly used in the industry by administrators to help, identify opportunities for improvement. The second area where we offer services is in engineering. So performing layouts or creating layouts, uh, making tooling and product design, creating P&ID drawings, and electrical design, whether it be your main control panel or line control design, as well as creating equipment specifications. So in a typical integration project, all of these items are essential to a successful project. And finally, there are the integration services. So there are a number of things in the integration area that we can help with, starting with greenfield projects. So this is a plant that does not exist, and customers will come to us, and this typically looks like a phase one feasibility and preliminary engineering type project. And so, with both greenfield projects and brownfield projects, we can perform the phase one studies, and those help customers get to know us and gain comfort in moving forward with phase two. So, we do greenfield projects, we do brownfield projects, which we call brownfield because it's not greenfield, it's brownfield because the plant exists, but we're adding a new line. And then specialty type integrations. So this could be an existing line where there is a parallel process. For example, adding shaping or bottle technology to an existing line. We also can help with speed ups. So, going from, for example, a 1600 can per minute line, ramping it up to 2400 cans per minute, or down gauging projects. So, we have a full array of service offerings when it comes to integration services. So there's a few numbers that I would like to share with you, and this starts with 20. So this is the number of full-time employees that are based in the Wheat Ridge, Colorado office, our headquarters. But we're supplemented by more than 35 very experienced can makers that are mainly exclusive to IPS and available on call to support the projects that we are working on. And so the core of 20 individuals uh, typically does the main lead roles on projects, and we supplement with a very experienced workforce. And the workforce that we supplement in, of course, is very experienced, as I mentioned. So the people working on the projects, specifically the team lead positions, will have a minimum of 2 decades of experience working in the can manufacturing industry. And so we're able to build great teams with a small core project team and filling out with very experienced can makers. So the structure of the project team looks like this, and it's all headed up by the project manager. And the project manager is responsible for three distinct areas. There is the administrative area, the engineering area, and the startup area. Sometimes the project manager will act as one of the leads, but the administrative lead in general takes care of scheduling, sourcing, purchasing, and accounting, while the engineering lead will head up three areas: electrical, mechanical, facilities, and conveying, four areas. And the startup lead will have specialists to support the front end, the back end, the chemical process specialist, and the support. So we have a very good structure for our projects. And again, it's all led by our very experienced and capable project managers. So let's talk about our experience and look at it by the numbers. So we have done collectively by IPS and its resources over 40 integration projects worldwide, whether it be greenfield or brownfield. And the basic breakdown of that is approximately 10 greenfield projects and approximately 30 brownfield projects. So plants from the ground up, about 10 of them, while the rest of them would be greenfield or specialty type projects. And these are numbers that are collected based on all of our combined resources. So, as a provider of integration services, IPS is one of the most capable companies in our industry today. So let's finally go over a number of examples of integration projects that we have done. And the first one is an example in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, where we integrated a CAN and inline. And we were very proud of this project because it went very smoothly and the startup curve was achieved exactly per customer requirements. A second example is in Asia, where in China we did a can line integration, and these are some of the nice photos from this integration project. It was a nice, clean execution and a well-performing line. And the final example is in South Korea, where we were called in for a line speed up. The line originally ran 1,600 cans per minute, and we successfully sped it up to 2,400 cans per minute. And those are just a few of the examples that we have under the belts of IPS and our collective resources. And now let's talk about the next steps. When considering an integration project, we've painted a four-phase timeline or project roadmap. And that's phase one, the preliminary engineering and feasibility study is where we always recommend that the customer starts. So even if a customer has an idea that they want to move forward, this phase one gives a second opinion to validate the information that was found internally. As well as this, there's preliminary engineering performed. So this information can always move forward into phase two. And this really does two things. It gives your main goal of whether the customer wants to move forward with the project, but as a secondary thing, it gives the opportunity for the customer to work with the IPS team, get to know us, understand our capabilities, and how it is to work with us as a team. And this way, you gain comfort in IPS and how things will look once we move forward into phase two. Thank you for watching. Again, the most important part for us is that all questions are addressed. So we always recommend that customers contact us and have an open relationship, an open dialogue, and ask any and all questions that they may have. Thank you.